Hello, this is Curtis, your traveling guru. Welcome to Informed Tourist AI. Ever wonder if some countries just, well, love American tourists as much as others? I'm not talking about a little cultural misunderstanding here. I'm talking about genuine, deep-seated resentment that can make your dream vacation a little awkward. We're about to dive into countries that hate American tourists. The shocking truth. You clicked on this for a reason. Maybe you're planning a trip and want to avoid a diplomatic incident. Or maybe you're just curious about the world beyond your backyard. Stick around until the end because I'm going to reveal the one golden rule that will make you a welcome guest in any country, no matter how much they secretly dislike your passport. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Informed Tourist AI for more thrilling travel insights. Now, let's begin. Our first stop takes us to the cradle of civilization, Egypt, land of majestic pyramids, the mighty Nile, and, oh yeah, some pretty complicated feelings towards Americans. Look, everyone loves a good conspiracy theory, and Egypt has had its fair share. But beyond the ancient curses and alien encounters, there lies a more modern tension. The relationship between the US and Egypt has seen smoother days. We're talking political disagreements, reduced foreign aid, and yeah, some pretty blatant anti-American sentiment in certain areas. It's not all doom and gloom though. Most Egyptians working in tourism are incredibly welcoming and rely heavily on the income generated by visitors. They'll greet you with warm smiles, delicious food, and stories that will transport you back in time. But venture away from the tourist hotspots and you might encounter a different vibe. You might overhear whispers about US foreign policy or get that subtle side-eye that makes you question your life choices. The truth is, Egypt's relationship with the US is complex. It's a mix of historical baggage, political maneuvering, and genuine cultural differences. And while it doesn't mean you shouldn't visit this incredible country, it does mean you should pack your patience, understanding, and maybe brush up on your Arabic. A little respect goes a long way, folks. Next, we find ourselves in France, the land of love, light, and let's just say it, a certain when it comes to American tourists. France is stunning. The architecture, the food, the romance in the air, it's enough to make anyone swoon. And the French? They're passionate about their culture, their history, and their right to enjoy a croissant without being interrupted by a loud conversation about, well, anything. Here's the thing. Americans are often stereotyped as being, shall we say, a bit much. We're loud, we're casual, and we tend to treat the entire world like our own personal playground. And while that works wonders at Disneyland, it doesn't exactly fly in a Parisian cafe. Imagine this. You're sitting at a charming bistro, sipping your café au lait, watching the world go by. Suddenly the tranquility is shattered by a group of Americans loudly discussing their plans to conquer the Louvre. They're dressed in baseball caps and sneakers, snapping selfies with every pastry in sight. See the problem? It's a clash of cultures, a collision of expectations. The French value decorum, discretion, and a certain sophistication. So, if you're planning a trip to France, remember, a little effort goes a long way. Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're venturing into Eastern Europe, to a country where the welcome mat isn't exactly rolled out for Americans. Belarus. Belarus, often referred to as Europe's last dictatorship, isn't exactly known for its warm embrace of Western ideals. The country has been ruled by Alexander Lukashenko since 1994, and let's just say his relationship with the US is frosty. We're talking Cold War vibes here, folks. Think political repression, limited freedom of speech, and a general distrust of anything that screams Western influence. So yeah, strolling around Minsk in a Stars and Stripes tank top might not be the best idea. Now, I'm not saying you'll be greeted with pitchforks and torches, but don't expect the same level of openness and acceptance you might find in other European countries. You might encounter suspicion, you might face extra scrutiny, and you'll definitely want to watch what you say, especially about politics. The political climate in Belarus is delicate, to put it mildly, and while most tourists visit without incident, it's crucial to be aware of the sensitivities and respect the local customs. Bottom line, Belarus is a fascinating country with a complex history, but it's not a place to be flippant about politics or flaunt your Americanness. Let's be honest, you probably weren't expecting this one. Spain, the land of flamenco dancing, delicious tapas, and passionate everything. It seems like a country that would welcome everyone with open arms, and for the most part, they do. But beneath the surface of sun-drenched beaches and vibrant nightlife, there lies a complex relationship with the United States. You see, Spain has a long memory, and some historical events, particularly US foreign policy decisions, have left a bit of a sour taste. It's not uncommon to find Spaniards who are quick to critique American politics, even while handing you a plate of patatas bravas. It can be a bit jarring, to be honest. You're expecting a laid-back conversation about the best paella in town, and suddenly you're embroiled in a debate about global economics. But hey, at least the sangria is flowing. Now, I'm not saying you'll be run out of town for being American, Spaniards are generally warm, welcoming people who appreciate tourists. But don't be surprised if you encounter some strong opinions about US foreign policy. The takeaway here? Enjoy the incredible food, the vibrant culture, the stunning architecture, but tread lightly when it comes to discussing international affairs. Ah, the Netherlands! Land of canals, bicycles, and those wonderfully tolerant Dutch folks. They seem so open-minded, so progressive, so European. And they are. But even in this liberal paradise, there are whispers of discontent when it comes to the good old US of A. It's not outright hostility, mind you. It's more of a generational grumbling. You see, some older Dutch citizens still remember the days of US global influence, and they don't always look back on it fondly. It's a bit like that one uncle at Thanksgiving who always brings up politics after a few too many glasses of wine. You might be enjoying a stroopwafel and minding your own business, when suddenly, BAM! You're hit with a passive-aggressive comment about American consumerism or a snarky remark about the US healthcare system. It's not meant to be malicious, not really. It's more of a way for them to express their own cultural values and subtly remind you that, hey, the American way isn't the only way. Here's the thing about the Dutch. They're direct. They value honesty, even if it comes wrapped in a sarcastic comment or a dry observation. So if you find yourself on the receiving end of a little Dutch humor, don't take it personally. Just smile, nod, and remember, you're a guest in their country, and their opinions, even the slightly critical ones, are valid. Ah, the United Kingdom! Our cousins across the pond, our partners in crime, the ones who gave us Shakespeare and then beat us in a revolution. Yeah, about that revolution, it's water under the bridge mostly. But let's just say the relationship between the US and the UK is complex. Think of it like this, we're family. We share a language, a history, and a love for complaining about the weather, but like all families we have our moments. There's a sense sometimes that the UK is the older, wiser sibling, slightly bemused by their younger siblings' antics. British humor is bone dry and they're masters of the subtle dig. So when an American tourist loudly asks where to find the nearest McDonald's in the middle of a historic pub, well, let's just say the eye rolls are epic. Americans, with our boundless enthusiasm and tendency to overshare, can sometimes come across as a bit much for the reserved Brits. It's not that they dislike Americans, not really. It's more that they value their personal space, their quiet pubs, and their ability to go about their day without being bombarded by questions about how much is that in real money. So, if you're planning a trip to the UK, remember, tone it down a notch. Embrace the art of subtlety. Alright folks, buckle up because this one's a bit different. We're heading to the most isolated country on Earth, a place shrouded in mystery and more than a little bit of fear, North Korea. Here's the deal. North Korea isn't exactly known for its tourism industry. In fact, it's actively discouraged. And for Americans, it's not just discouraged, it's pretty much a no-go zone. We're talking special permission, heavily monitored tours, and the constant possibility of being detained for, well, pretty much anything. Why the extreme measures? It all boils down to politics, ideology, and a whole lot of mistrust. So, unless you have a burning desire to see what life is like inside a highly controlled totalitarian state, and trust me, you don't, I'd recommend crossing North Korea off your bucket list. There are plenty of other fascinating destinations out there that won't land you in a North Korean prison. Get ready to salsa into a country full of vibrant culture, classic cars, and a complex relationship with the United States, Cuba. Here's the thing about Cuba. It's a country of contradictions. The Cuban people are known for their warmth, their hospitality, and their love of music, dancing, and all things life. But their government? Well, let's just say they haven't exactly been sending the US a Christmas card. We're talking decades of political tension, a trade embargo that seems to last longer than a Fidel Castro speech, and a whole lot of historical baggage. It's a bit like that awkward family reunion where everyone's trying to be polite, but you can still feel the tension in the air. Now, things have thawed a bit in recent years. Americans can legally travel to Cuba under certain conditions, and there's been a surge in cultural exchange programs. But don't expect it to be all sunshine and mojitos. You're still in a country where anti-American sentiment runs high. Next up, we're heading to South America, to a country known for its stunning landscapes, delicious wine, and a history that's left some scars, Chile. Chile is a land of contrasts. Towering mountains, arid deserts, lush valleys, it's a feast for the eyes. And the Chilean people? They're known for their warmth, their resilience, and their love of a good asado. But beneath the surface of this beautiful country lies a current of resentment towards the United States, especially among the older generations. Why? Well, it all goes back to the 1970s and the US-backed coup that overthrew the democratically elected socialist government of Salvador Allende. It's a dark chapter in Chilean history, one that still evokes strong emotions. Now, I'm not saying you'll be greeted with protests and accusations the moment you step off the plane. Most Chileans are welcoming to tourists and understand that you weren't personally responsible for the actions of the US government decades ago. But don't be surprised if you encounter some lingering resentment. The key here is to be sensitive, to listen more than you speak, and to avoid making light of a period that still holds a lot of pain for many Chileans. Our final destination takes us to the Iberian Peninsula, to a country known for its stunning coastline, its melancholic fado music, and its delicious pastel de nata, Portugal. You might be wondering, Portugal? Really? What's so bad about Portugal? And you'd be right to wonder, because on the surface, Portugal seems like a dream destination. But beneath the charm and beauty, there's a growing tension, a resentment that's starting to bubble over, and it's directed at, you guessed it, tourists. Now, this isn't about Americans, with tourists dragging rolling suitcases and speaking languages you don't understand. That's the reality for many residents of Lisbon. They're being pushed out of their own city, and it's causing resentment, frustration, and a sense that their culture is being eroded. Alright, so what's the fix? Here's that golden rule I promised earlier. Don't act like you own the place. That's it. It's simple, it's effective, and it works everywhere. Learn a few local words. Even just hello and thank you go a long way. Be respectful of customs. You're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. When you speak, please keep the volume down. Not everyone wants to hear your full life story at lunch, or listen to you talk on the phone. Be respectful. Listen more than you talk. When in doubt, act like a guest, not a critic. Thanks for watching Informed Tourist AI. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and subscribe. It's free and helps support the channel. Now check this next video out.